Hey everyone, Dustin here from Dynasty Pros. And today I want to do a video series that I'm calling Fantasy Economics 101. And today we're going to talk about the economic principle of supply and demand, specifically when it refers to the quarterback position and how we're looking at 2024 and going forward and how this affects your dynasty team. So let's start with the demand. These are the teams that are going to be looking for a quarterback, a starting quarterback for 24. The Vikings, Buccaneers, Broncos are probably going to release Russell Wilson. Falcons have benched Desmond Ridder twice this year. Patriots have gone back and forth between Zappy and Mac Jones. Steelers, we're not sure what's going to happen with Kenny Pickett. Raiders, is Aiden O'Connell the future? Commanders, they just benched Sam Howell. So who's actually looking for a 2024 starting quarterback? I put the demand line right there. Vikings, Bucks, Broncos, Falcons, Patriots are definitely looking for a guy. So that puts our demand at 5. Now, let's talk about supply. Here are the guys that are going to be available in 2024 or this offseason. We got Baker Mayfield, free agent from the Buccaneers. Kirk Cousins, free agent from the Vikings. Russell Wilson getting cut or traded from the Broncos. Got Gardner Minshew playing great ball right now for Indianapolis, free agent. Joe Flacco, Jimmy G, Tannehill, Jameis Winston, Desmond Ridder, Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, Jake Browning, and Joshua Dobbs, all free agents this offseason. Then you have to factor in the guys in blue here are the rookies. You've got Caleb Williams and Drake May, who are the top 2 rookies coming out of this class. Now, last year we saw Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud were the top 2 rookies, talking about 1 and 2, and then Combine happened. Anthony Richardson hype jumped him up, and we had a big 3 quarterbacks. And then we had Will Levis as the 4th. That guy jumped a tier. I could see this year. This year, I think we'll see 2, if not 3 guys jump into that tier. I like Jamie Daniels, J.D. McCarthy. I think Michael Penix can do it too if he has a good pro day. Fast combine. Daniels isn't going to work out, so we'll see how that goes. This is my list. Where do I see the supply? I put the supply line right here below the Gardner Minshew, right above Michael Penix. That means our supply currently is 8. 8 to 5, you're a difference of 3. So that means 3 of these guys aren't going to get a starting job right away unless something else changes, unless someone else moves on, unless someone retires. I don't see that happening. Now, what does that mean for your dynasty team? Let's talk about trades. A month ago, we were talking about Josh Dobbs possibly being a starter for 2024. He's playing well. He's the pastronaut. He's all this great stuff. Cool. I said, no, there's no way he's starting because the demand wasn't there. So a month ago, you could have sold Joshua Dobbs for a late second, sometimes mid-second. If you did that, you won. If you bought Josh Dobbs, you lost because now you're at a guy who's barely a backup, maybe a third stringer. If I'm holding a guy like Jake Browning, Joe Flacco, Jimmy G, are they starters? I don't see a pathway to them getting there based on supply and demand that they'll be starters. So if I can sell them for a second-round pick, I'll do that because a second-round pick will net me either a quarterback, a Bo Nix, a Michael Penix, or possibly a running back, wide receiver, tight end who's going to have impact on my team, who has a better chance of getting the starting role and getting playing time. Here's my issue. Gardner Minshew, what do we do with him? He's played really well for Indianapolis. Is he a starter in 2024? Based on supply and demand, I don't think so. I don't see where he goes that he can start. Even if you pair him with a Jaden Daniels who might be injured, who might not be able to start, he gets, 6 games? Even there, he's 6th on the list. There's only 5 spots that I see open. So I don't see a way. I think some of these guys, a Flacco, a Jimmy G, a Tannehill, a Jameis Winston, might be able to pair with these guys and start for half a season, but the value is not there. If you're looking at if you have Baker, Cousins, or Russ, hold them because you know they're probably going to get a starting job unless you can get a high-end first pick for them. If you're buying them, you might be able to buy them cheap. You might be able to find the guy who goes, Baker's on a 1-year deal. He's a free agent. He's going nowhere. He's played well enough where I think his supply, and he's my top free agent quarterback right now. He's going to have his pick of these spots. Caleb Williams, Drake May, if you're acquiring picks, I want late first, early second picks because I think that's where these guys are going to fall. You're looking at the first pick being Caleb Williams, Drake May being in the top 5. You're looking at Marvin Harrison, Bowers, all being top 5 in your rookie draft. So if you can get one of these guys later who might have a spot, we don't know. Now, that's why the draft plays into it. Now, this is fine. And you're saying, oh, Dustin, what about Justin Fields? Let's talk about Justin Fields. That doesn't change this. If Justin Fields gets traded or cut from the Bears, what's that do? That turns this to 9 and turns this to 6. We're still at 3 too many. And so it doesn't change. The only way this changes for me is if the Steelers move on from Kenny Pickett, because I don't think Pickett falls above Minshew. I think he falls farther down, maybe right above Joe Flacco. So that would change this to 6 and keep this at 8. We're still 2 off and it gets better, but it's still not there. So that might just bump someone else down. So when you're looking at trades, this is how you do it. Now, you're going to say, Dustin, this is great information. Why didn't you tell me this a month ago? I could have traded. I can't trade a Joe Flacco now. I'm in the championship game. No one's making trades. My trade deadline's fast. What do I do with the Minshew? I can't do anything. Okay, this is why you need to know. Let's look at 2025. Let's look at supply. You've got Dak. Doing great. You got Tua. MVP talked about. You've got Jordan Love. You've got Goff. You've got T-Law. You've got Trey Lance. And so that means our demand is going to be Dallas, Miami, Green Bay, Detroit, Jacksonville. So currently at this, you're looking at 6 to 5. I think you can also hand over here demand New York Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers is done after 2024. I don't think he plays in 2025. Seattle's the wild card for me. What do they do with Geno Smith? Are they looking for someone? When do they draft his backup? I think Geno Smith plays 2024. I don't think he plays in 2025. So you could add Geno on here. I think Aaron Rodgers retires. I actually think Geno retires, so I'm going to raise him right off the board. So now we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're looking pretty good. The problem is you got to factor in rookies. We're probably going to get 2 rookies. That puts this not at 6, but at 8. We're only 1 off, which is much better than 3 or possibly 2. But here's where we got to look at this. Detroit drafted Hendon Hooker last year. Do they just roll straight from Goff to Hooker? Let's say Dak resigns with Dallas, 2 with Miami. Let's say Trevor Lawrence stays with Jacksonville. Leaves me Love, Goff, Lance, and 2 rookies, right? Seattle, Jets, Green Bay. If Detroit stays with Hendon Hooker. So what's that mean? Do I think Trey Lance gets a job? No. So if I'm holding Trey Lance right now, I'm looking at this year, next year, and going, where does Trey Lance slot in as a starter? I don't see it. Is he better than some of these guys? Can he replace Sam Howell? Sure. But do I think they go off? I think Commanders come in here, and maybe they go after a guy. Is Aiden O'Connell the guy? One of these teams could be shifting. But they could also take a Michael Penix, Bo Nix. I think Seattle, a great fix for them is Michael Penix. And that takes them off the board. So now your supply and demand fluctuates. We get more clarity on this going forward. But if I'm holding Trey Lance, I'm selling right now if I can find someone who still buys the hype. If I can find someone I could sell that narrative of Gardner Minshew, I'm selling that. Same thing with Flacco or Jameis Winston, even a Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi. If you find someone who loves Jake Browning for what he's doing in Cincinnati, sell him. Sell these guys right now. And if I can acquire a Penix and a Bo Nix, because I think some of these teams might be targeting these guys late in drafts. So if I can get these guys in my 3rd round, now I love it. You could have got Sam Howell in your rookie draft in the 3rd round 2 years ago who played dividends for you this year. I think it's going to be Penix and Nix if they don't jump up into this group. If one of these guys, if Jaden Daniels, because of the injury, falls down, he's a value because he's going to get a starting job some point in 2025, if not 2024. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm trying to sell Minshew and Lance right now, and anything else below those things, the Flacco's, the Jimmy D. Tannehills. I'm looking to buy these guys cheap, the Bakers, the Cousins, the Russ. Looking at my rookie draft picks, if I can acquire a bunch of 2nd-round picks or tier up, package some picks, and get up here, that's where I want to be to pick up some of these guys because I think the supply is here, first on demand. And looking next year, I don't think it gets any better. We saw this a couple years ago with the Pickett, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder draft. Those guys fell in the draft because there wasn't a ton of demand for them. So this is where you have to look at the real-life free agency market and who might be available and how it affects your dynasty, where you should buy, where you should sell. I'll say these are my lines. This could change for you. If you don't like J.D. McCarthy, maybe you don't. Maybe you like Minshew a lot more. Maybe you really love Joe Flacco. But do this for yourself. Look at spotrack.com. Find out who's available. Look at who, based on that, who might be available, what teams are in demand, what the supply looks like. Make your own list. I think you'll see that there's more supply than there is demand. So you should be trading some of these lower-end guys and acquiring these guys cheap because they're going to have a role. This has been supply and demand for the quarterback position for Dynasty Pros. Keep an eye out. We'll be doing running backs, wide receivers coming up. Hope you enjoyed it. Follow us on Dynasty Pros for more content. We'll be doing Devy, IDP, Dynasty, Redraft. We got all your fantasy needs covered. We're always available. I'm Dustin. You can hit me up on Twitter, the DUnit13. Always there to ask questions. If you have questions for me, I'll answer them. Do my best to help you guys out. We want you guys to win championships. That starts now in free agency. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be on the lookout for the next one. Hit that like and subscribe.